It's
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Bob.
I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, my fault. It's the Morning News Express. I figured I would take the hit on mispronouncing our next guest's name.
Did you not ask?
I did. So that's why I figured I would go ahead and bring our guest on here. It's the Morning News Express, Free Talk 930 WFMD. Ethan Wechtaluk is with us here, and he's actually running for the Democratic primary. You're going to be going against April McLean Delaney. And again, we know it's not going to be until 2026, but he's kind enough to kind of join us and kind of get his name out there. Of course, we'll be running for U.S. House District 6 against McLean Delaney. Ethan, good morning. Thank you so much for well, I was going to say thank you for waking up early, but you, like me, have kids.
Yes.
So you had to get up and see them off to school, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I have 3 daughters. Keep me on my toes. Yes, so an early morning wake-up call is not out of my my realm. Yes. In fact, a good night's sleep is actually probably the opposite of what I normally get.
So Ethan, let's ask the important question. Did Chris say the name correctly? Because it is, I guarantee you, growing up as a kid, if you're a teacher, you've had to sit there how many times and go, how do you say your last name?
He got close. It's okay. Wechtaluk.
Wechtaluk.
Yeah. It's one of those things I realized when I'm coming on to talk to Bob Miller and Chris Michaels that growing up, you guys probably didn't have the same level of sympathy for it. Believe me, I've heard every variation, so at this point, it's all right.
Let me start off by saying I already don't like Ethan because, number one, he's 37. He looks like he's about 20 years old. He's got a whole head of hair, and he looks like if the politics thing doesn't work out, maybe he can get into modeling. But anyway, I digress. That's not what he's here for, right, Bob?
No, and you are facing an uphill battle with going against, not a well-established, but pretty established Democrat in the 6th District in April McLean Delaney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an uphill battle when you challenge an incumbent just out of the gate, regardless of whether they are a freshman or they've been around for, 10, 15 terms. It's a challenge, and you know what you're getting into. You don't do it unless you have something that you believe in, and you don't do it unless you're committed to see it through.
So one of the things that I got to tell you I really liked about you, and looking on your website here, what you put here, it says, "I'm done waiting for someone else. While too many Democrats play it safe, our communities are falling behind." Could you kind of elaborate on what you mean by that and how they're falling behind?
Yeah, I think any of us here in the 6th District, and it's easy to say, I know I'm from Montgomery County, and I've already heard this criticism is that, well, all you care about is Montgomery County, you don't care about the rest of Western Maryland. That's actually, couldn't be farther from the truth, is that when we look at how the problems play out and what goes on, national politics tends to forget the local level. They tend to forget what goes on, the on the ground, the daily struggles. When we're talking about, the big, beautiful bill and what it does to local hospitals, or tariffs and what it does to the impact on farmers. I'm listening to one of the broadcast points early this morning, 12,000 farms across the state of Maryland. They're talking about harvest seasons going on right now. Well, there's a valid concern. Where are those crops going, right? And do they have a place to even sell them? And I think that people forget about that. People forget that we have to kind of think through these things. It's not a micro level. It's not a macro level. It's kind of a whole picture. And you have to look at everything, from the federal level to the local level to the state level to even down to neighborhood HOAs. Everyone has a place. Everyone has a role in building a sense of community. Obviously, I'm running for a little bit higher level in that, but I can't do it. I can't be successful without all the people that play that part in each level along the way.
And Ethan, why not choose maybe a state office as opposed to a different office, that one you're going for now?
That's a great question, and it's one that I've been asked. Part of it is my local state representative I agree with, and I like him. But also, I'll say this is an aspiration of mine. It's It's a long-held dream of mine to run for Congress. I don't know how many kids, when they're growing up, sit there and say, I want to grow up to be a U.S. congressman. I was one of those kids. And, you know, at the start of this year, you know, I looked around and I thought, what could I do? I see the impact. I see what's happening, not necessarily just to me, but to my friends, to my neighbors. And I thought, I need to do something. I need to find out what that is that I can feel like I can sleep at night because I've done my part. And this is what it is for me. It's running for Congress.
Well, we got to put a pin in it, but if you can hang around for another segment, we definitely have a few more questions we'd like to ask you. Yeah. Mostly my biggest question is, what is the difference between, you know, you're a Democrat, what's the difference between you and April McLean Delaney? We'll get into that coming up next. It's the Morning News Express, Free Talk 930 WFMD.
Morning News Express, 823 at WFMD. Bob and Chris and Ethan Wechtaluk. Did I get it right?
So close.
Oh, darn.
You'll get there.
We're just going to call you Bill.
Well, you know, the first name's not the problem.
Like the running back for the Redskins, who is whatever it is, and he goes by Bill. So Ethan is in the studio with us. He is wanting to take on April McLean Delaney. Chris, you asked a question right before we went to break. What's the difference between you and Mrs. Delaney?
It is a great question. I think out of the gate, I would say I'm running to try to make politics more accessible. I'm not a wealthy person. I can't self-fund my campaign, and that's not a knock on her per se, but I am more connected. I'm more grounded. I want to be the person that you would want to have a beer with, the guy you'd want to take home to your mom, and the person you trust to play bingo with your Mima.
Well, policy-wise, though, I mean, because, you know, people are looking at, and that's all great and everything, but policy-wise, people are kind of looking at that. What's the biggest difference between you and April McLean Delaney?
I'll take a principled stand. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to dance around an issue. I tell my wife, I say what I say and I mean what I say. So, you know, people want you to say something. They want you to sit there and say, and you know, how you feel. And I will say how I feel. I'm not going to write letters. I'm not going to wave signs. I'm not going to show up at an address wearing a specific color. I'm going to be the one who's likely to speak up. I'm going to be the one who's going to voice his opinion and argue. My wife says I'm very good at that. So do my kids. So, you know, I will take the principled stand, and I'll take it for anyone, regardless of whether I agree with it. With what, you know, you believe in, or I don't agree with what you believe in. You are part of my district, and I want to represent you, and I will fight for you. I will fight every day for what you want.
Well, we're gonna put that all to a test right now, because different from Chris and I, is I lean one way, the way that you don't lean. So I'm gonna go through your details of your issues. Right. One of them says a nation of immigrants, a policy that honors people. Do you agree with the deportation of illegals?
I agree with securing our borders. Our borders need to be secured. I agree that people who are here illegally neither need to go through the legal process, or they deserve to leave. I do not agree with how the process is being played out. We should not be separating families. We should not be forcefully detaining people, denying them due process. We do need to make sure that people are being treated humanely. And this should be about criminals. If we're going after illegal immigrants, we should go after the criminals. Hardworking family men.
They are criminals coming into our country illegally.
Yes.
Okay.
So. Yes. I actually, you know, this is where me and Bob, I guess, differ. A lot of listeners, I would agree. First of all, I'm all for closing the borders right now. I'm all for deporting, illegal immigrants who are criminals. Get them the hell out of the country if they committed a crime. Yep. We don't need them in our jail. We don't need them in our country. For me, where I guess I differ is, again, for me, it's hard to fathom taking a child who only knew this country, who's 8, 9, 10 years old, and sending them back to another country because their parents Lawrence made a mistake. That's where I guess I kind of differ.
Yeah.
But again, it's my opinion on that.
No difference than a parent walking thousands or hundreds of miles with their child in tow to bring them to a country they never heard of.
Well, but again, if that's the case, that's why the borders need to be closed. If that's the case and they catch them in that second, Bob, I say deport them. But I'm talking about the kids, again, that have been here for, 7-8 years. That's my whole issue with that.
Yeah, and I think for me, we can't have that nuanced debate as long as ICE is in the street rounding up people, willy-nilly without regard for it. And I think that's the challenge that a lot of people see.
I disagree that they're rounding them up willy-nilly.
Well, see, that's where I would disagree, too, and agree with Bob. I think ICE should be out there, again, going after the people that have committed crimes and getting them out of the country.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm wishy-washy.
I get it. This is a complicated issue.
Yeah.
Right? It's a complicated issue, and I don't expect to agree with everyone on it. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. I just want to make sure that we are not rounding up people or infringing upon the rights of people who should not have their rights.
So I guess my biggest question would be, I don't know where April McLean Delaney stands on this, Bob. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. If so, let me know. But I don't know if she's for open borders or not, but you are for closed borders as of right now is what you are for.
Correct. I'm for securing our borders. Yep, 100%.
Real quick, because we got to take a break, and one of the things that we have here in Frederick, which is keeping, I believe, a certain part of the population out of Frederick County, and that is the 287G program. So would you support the 287G program to continue in Frederick County?
I would not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll if you can hang around for one more segment, I'll give my ideas on the 287G. I'm actually for it, believe it or not. But if you can hang around for one more segment.
Absolutely.
All right. It's the Morning News Express, Free Talk 930 WFMD. It's the Morning News Express, Free Talk 930 WFMD. The Morning Mayor, Bob Miller. And me, wishy-washy Chris Michaels with you, and we're talking to our friend Ethan here, who is actually going to be going against April McLean Delaney. Again, it's not until 2026, Ethan, so we got some time. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about, a lot of our listeners are texting, is about that 287G program. I can't speak for Bob, obviously, but I've always said I'm for the 287G. I know what it is. I know what it isn't. 287G is basically to kick out the illegal immigrants who committed crimes. The sheriff's department does not go after non-citizens. It's if they pull them over for a reason. If they committed a crime, they bring them in to the Frederick County Jail, and then the Frederick County Jail they get in touch with ICE, and so on. Then the process begins. But again, it's people who are committed crimes who are illegal immigrants. Bob, what say you?
So the question is being asked, Ethan, why do you not want the 287G program to continue in Frederick County and elsewhere?
Yeah, So let me start by saying this. The police have an important role to play in our communities, and I fully support the police in making sure that the police departments have adequate funding to do our job to ensure our public safety. I think with 287G, I look at immigration as a federal issue. And the minute that you start using local police departments, and whether it's county level or town, city level police departments, the minute you start using them to address broader issues, I think that starts to perhaps erode their trust and faith within the community. And so what happens if a Hispanic family has a crime that is perpetrated against them? Are they going to feel comfortable calling the police department to come help them? Or are they afraid that they are going to be profiled because they are Hispanic?
That doesn't happen, sir.
Yeah, that does not happen in the 287G program in Frederick County. Now,
what happens is when you get arrested and you're detained and you're taken to Marcy's Choice lane, they ask you there what your immigration status is. It has nothing to do with somebody who has a crime perpetrated on them. It is the person who has perpetrated the crime. If that person is caught and deemed illegal, then the 287G program goes into effect and ICE becomes part of it, and then if it's deemed appropriate, then they are deported from this country.
Yes. So what I'm sharing is I think the perspective that a lot of people have, though, and it may not be how it actually works in reality, but I think this goes back to a broader political issue. Is there's the fact and then there's the fiction, and those are mixed up, and so I think there are a lot of people more so probably on the left, who do have a lot of fears, and I'll freely admit that, do have a lot of fears about 287G and the effects that it can have on community policing and how people interact with the police.
So, and that's where, excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. I think that's where our job as a media over here at WFMD is so important, that we actually, talk about what the truths are as far as the 287G. And as you well know, we had a discussion. I'm a middle of the ground person. I take both heat from the right and left. But with the 287G, that's what we need to do is let these individuals know, say, hey, if you're Hispanic and there was a crime committed against you, you can call the police department. You will not be, deported. It's that person who you call the police on. If they committed a crime, they will be deported once they get to the jail. So I agree with you. It's all about kind of letting them know what the 287G is and what it isn't. And I've always said I am for the 287G.
Ethan, and I should call you by your last name.
No, you're all right. Please.
It. Ethan W. I would ask, because I agree with some of the things that you have said on here on your website. Maybe a better way to citizenship, make our immigration system work for people, not against people. I've had a friend from Canada who wants to write a book on how horrible it is to become an American citizen and go through the process. So I agree with that. Now, what I would ask you to do, because you have time, is that you were talking about facts and maybe some fiction. I don't really want to call it fiction. I just think that maybe you don't know all the facts, that you get in touch with our local sheriff, Chuck Jenkins, and have a sit down about the 287G program as this campaign goes through. And I think that maybe we'll find out in 6 months to a year. Maybe you might agree or you might still disagree. And as long as you do your due diligence, I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I'll freely state that what I put on my website is what I think in a given moment. It's not what I'm going to think necessarily tomorrow, the day after, next week. Change my mind. Educate me, inform me. I'm open to learning new things. I'd love to have a sit down with the sheriff.
Well, and that's where I agree with you, is that, yes, you're right, that unfortunately there are a lot of people, Hispanic population, who might fear the 287G because I don't think they're educated enough, and the media locally is not doing enough of a job to explaining to them what the 287G is. And the sheriff does have meetings, Bob, what is it, monthly or every so often, about the 287G, so people can actually, residents can go and listen to what the 287G is. And I invite everybody, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're white, whether you're black, to go and go into these meetings so you can understand what the 287G is. So that's my whole thing on that. But we appreciate you coming on, Ethan.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, we do appreciate it. If somebody wants to know more about you, Ethan?
Yep, Ethan for Maryland, or ethanformd.com. I made it simple.
You made an easy website.
You don't have to worry about the last name, ethanformd.com. Check me out there, and I'm always happy to talk to people.
Well, we appreciate you, and hopefully we can get you on again as time gets closer. It was great talking to you, Ethan, and we look forward.
Try to say it, Chris. Try to say it. Wechtaluk.
Wechtaluk.
I was just going to say it. Wechtaluk. See, I was just going to say it before he said it. So there you go. It's the Morning News Express, Free Talk 930 WFMD.